It's Aloha Wednesday. We're gonna run until Saturday. Woo! Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. And it's breakfast with Bob. Chee-hoo!
And Poncho Man. Welcome everybody to day 3, Breakfast with Bob St. George edition. My name is Bob Babbitt. We're brought to you by Master Spa Zions Bank, Quintana Roo, Forum Smart Swim Goggles, Clash Endurance, Premium Plus Sports, and, of course, our Challenged Athletes Foundation. Our next guest, the big unit, number 5 in the world, Mr. Sam the Man Long. How you doing, Sam? Yeah.
It's great to be here. We got a little serenade. I never realized Poncho Man sounds better in real life than through the YouTube, you know?
So that's right. You've not raced Kona yet, so you've not had the Poncho Man experience.
Yeah, exactly. Not as a professional. You definitely weren't having me on as an age grouper, man.
So we just had Cam Worth on, who was saying, what, did he texted you a couple days ago? No, I won't be there.
Yeah, I called him because I know he was on the start list. I'm like, okay, this guy's showing up, which is awesome. And
you want it.
Especially for a guy like me. He adds a huge dynamic. He's a great asset to have for us slightly slower swimmers. And I messaged him, 4 days ago, hey, see you on the start list. I know you're coming. And he was like, nope, not coming. I don't know. That's a mistake. And I was like, come on, just tell me the truth. And he was still like, no, it's seriously, I won't be there. And I didn't believe it for a second.
Well, because he didn't know, he might have had to go to Giro. You know, he has to. The team tells him what he can do, so he did. I think he probably found out a few days ago.
He probably didn't know, maybe.
Yeah,
4 or
for
5
sure
days ago,
no.
and found out 3 days ago.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean So that does add another element, having a guy who can ride, and you think about yourself and Cam and Lionel and Sebi, sort of swim around the same area. You think?
Yeah, I think we should all be, especially in a wetsuit, we should all be
around
pretty
the same.
similar around the same
And that's
area.
a little Powerhouse Group on the bike.
Yeah, I mean, I got to be honest. I'm not sure any of us can ride with Cam anymore. I mean, he's been in the pro tour for 2 years as a domestique for a very strong team, and
yes. They just won Paris-Roubaix, and he was leading on the cobbles.
He was leading, setting up the win. So I'm not sure. I mean, we'll see if we have the firepower to ride with him for maybe 20K, but
right.
It's going to be great to see him out there.
So you almost weren't here in terms of you got hit by a car how many days ago?
Yeah, 8 days ago I was hit by a car. Yeah, it just turned. They saw me from behind. They were turning into their neighborhood, and I was on a downhill with a tailwind.
Yes.
And they decided they'd beat me to the intersection, so they accelerated. By the time they didn't look again to see where I was, so they turned right into me because I was already actually in the intersection. So I basically reacted a bit, skidded on the brakes, saw them out of my peripherals, and was able to, instead of getting hit basically by the grill of their car, kind of just
got the side.
Nudge myself into the back of the car and roll over the back of the trunk and onto the ground. So it was definitely a pretty crazy experience. And yeah, I mean, I honestly am really lucky to be alive, and
yes.
extremely lucky that I think I'm still going to be able to race on Saturday. I nearly didn't come on Monday morning. It still wasn't feeling too good, and I said, like, why should I pack my bags? And but I decided, like, it's worth the shot to come, and thankfully
right.
things have come around the last 2 days at long last, because it just was not getting better, and
right.
It was painful just to extend my leg, but now things are coming together.
Well, you hit the ground. The ground is never very giving.
No, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
and 25, 30 miles an hour after, getting more than nudged. I mean, basically leaning myself against the car so that I didn't get impounded.
Right. Well, so right behind us is the finish line. And last year you had 2 great races here, second to Gustav Iden in the World Championship, and then that sprint finish with Lionel Sanders right here earlier in the year. So you have some great memories from this course.
Yeah, that's right. I'm just thinking they've both won the race, so now it's my turn. They can get second and third this time.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
How has your attitude changed in terms of the way you look at yourself going into races now compared to, say, 2 years ago?
I think even honestly compared to 70.3 Worlds last year or the May race with Lionel, like, I didn't truly believe I could win either of those races against them.
Really, going in?
Yeah, honest to God. I mean, I might have sort of tried to fake it, but deep down, like, I wasn't ready to beat Lionel in May, and I think we saw that when it came down to the final 200 meters, and I didn't, I grabbed water with 200 meters to go at an aid station. It's as if I was saying, hey, Lionel, please go beat me. I'm afraid to beat you. And I don't have that anymore, and I don't have that with Gustav either, and I have a deep-seated belief and confidence in myself now.
And did that come from those 2 races where you analyzed and said, what the hell is I doing grabbing a water with 200 yards to go? Where did that come from?
Yeah, definitely like those races. I mean, yeah, particularly that race with Lionel, right? Kind of having looked up to him and having, all sorts of kind of drama around Mount Lemmon and
right.
Lots of fans and messages always saying like, oh, you're not even half an athlete of him. And I guess like part of me almost believed that. But then when you go in thinking, oh, I'll be happy or lucky if I'm 2 minutes behind Lionel here at this race, in May, and then getting beat by 6 seconds and feeling like, okay, well, I sort of like let that one go, and so that definitely gave me big belief. And then certainly 70.3 Worlds. I mean, I was 34th my first time right in Nice in 2019, and then up to second, and so it's those things give me confidence. And then just the training and the metrics and the numbers and tracking that with my coach, and I've improved drastically since Nice.
No question.
Well, drastically since 70.3 Worlds.
Right.
And I've improved massively since then. And so that gives me a lot of confidence and belief out here.
So we just saw you at Clash Miami, and that was a textbook Sam Long race where you were at the back, out of the water, but you rode your way through the field and then had a great run, and basically, you won the race. That part of the confidence you've gained that come from that race as well?
Yeah, absolutely. And I actually think at that race I had a pretty good swim. I was like 2 minutes and 10 seconds back, but we had guys like Aaron Royal there.
You had a lot of IQ guys.
If you put it into perspective, Ben Canute was 50 seconds back at that race. So I was actually only a minute 10 from Ben Canute,
yes.
Which normally Ben Canute's leading, like he's leading 70.3 Worlds. Yep. So I was 2 minutes and 10 seconds back from Ben Canute at 70.3 Worlds, and then only, a minute back from him at Miami.
Right.
And the course was more technical and challenging. So those are things I kind of can look at. And sure, he had a bad swim, but I also came out with guys like Tyler Butterfield, who I've never actually swam with in a race for the first time at Clash Miami. So like the swim maybe looked like it was still a 2 minute deficit, but the guys who swam, they like grilled themselves to get that swim, and then they blew up. They burned all their matches on that swim to put a 2 minute deficit into me and had nothing left, I think.
What's fascinating to me is other sports, pro cycling, I don't think these guys give each other tips and help each other out. I think there's a lot of psychological stuff going on. In this sport, you mentioned Tyler Butterfield. So last year after the Collins Cup, where you got your butt handed to you in the swim, you came back home, you were in Boulder, and he basically worked with you on how to start a swim and how to go hard early on, because once they're gone, they're gone. You have to swim aggressively. Right, it's a different game. You had to learn how to, even though you were swimming and swimming hard, it's a difference. It's a difference. The way you start makes all the difference in the world. I mean, what did you gain from swimming with Tyler? Because you were going out to Little Lake, and working on that over and over again. Stay on my hip. No, that's not my hip. Get closer. And that was totally foreign to you.
Totally. So like I learned a skill set I didn't quite know, and it's actually similar to like, okay, if you're going out on a really hard group ride and suddenly, you hit the start point and everyone's attacking, and I'm always at the front laying down the power and kind of getting that started. And it's like you're breathing hard, but you're staying relaxed. And it's very, very similar in swimming. You're working really hard, but you have to stay relaxed. And when you're not a native-born swimmer, it's hard. Also because you've got people punching you in the face or the jaw or, pulling at your feet. And it's easy to kind of get in that fight or flight response and sort of panic, and then actually you feel like you're going even harder, but you're just swimming backwards.
You're flailing.
So I learned the right skill set practicing that with the guys, and then it also comes down to that deep-seated confidence, right? I learned the skill set, but then even at 70.3 Worlds, I didn't believe I was even going to swim as well as I did there, but now I've been putting in big work over the winter. That's why I had to correct you at Miami, because I believe that was a good swim, and I know it was a better swim than I've done in the past. And I have
your place didn't indicate how fast you swam.
Exactly, and it's important now for me to I don't want to say control the dialogue or control the narrative, but it's like I can't let people keep telling me like I'm a shit swimmer and
No.
oh, I suck at swimming, and oh, because I tell you what, I'm going to start telling everyone else they suck at riding a bike and they suck at running if they keep telling me I suck at swimming.
Well,
I mean,
but the big difference was when we 70.3 Worlds, you were not far behind Ben Canute and those guys. Obviously at Collins Cup, a different game, but at that race, what you had worked on with Tyler paid off.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, of course, there's a margin, and of course, Ben Canute is a phenomenal swimmer.
Yes.
And if I swim
He's an
2
Olympian.
minutes back, that doesn't make me a terrible swimmer.
Not
Just
at
as
all.
if I ride 2 minutes faster than Ben Canute, that doesn't make him a terrible biker. He's still a phenomenal biker. It's
Right.
just the sportsmen in this world, in our sport, all three have been raised to such a high level that if you're not the best at one, you can't be called terrible. You're still really good at swimming.
Well, you look at it as strength and weakness. But in this day and age, you can't have a weakness. Right? You need to be
there's no
strong across the way.
weaknesses.
When we look at the splits from the 70.3 Worlds, Gustav Iden, who's obviously an Olympian, right?
Oh gosh, you've got the splits here from 70.
24:54, and you were in 25. You were a minute back in a 1.2 mile swim, right? And then he went 1:58 for the bike, and you went 2 hours for a 56-mile bike ride. And then, he runs 1:11, you ran 1:12. If someone said before the race, these are your splits, you're thinking to yourself, I'm going to win the race.
Yeah, on this course, on the 70.3 Worlds course, exactly. I put down a winning performance, and Gustav was
better on the day.
And that's exactly what I'm saying, right? The people at the top of our sport are exceptional athletes now, and they're so good at all three, and that's why it's you just can't have a weakness. And so I keep hammering that swim, and
you're getting better and better and better.
And I'm getting better and better and better. And of course, it's
You're
still a weakness,
guy.
but I'm not a bad swimmer anymore.
What you look at is as we get more and more ITU guys in, you've got to swim faster. That's just the way it is. Everybody does.
Yeah, it's
everybody
incredible.
has to do it because you can't let anybody go because they can all ride the bike. It used to be a lot of the ITU guys were great swimmers. They didn't ride the bike that well. But starting with Alistair Brownlee, that all changed, where those guys could swim, bike, and obviously run 28, 29 minutes off the bike. And you've been in this long enough to see the change, where you have to be stronger at all three. Working with Ryan Bolton, what have you been focusing on like this last 6 months or so during the what we call an off season, not really an off season, but a build into this race?
Yeah, exactly. So it started with a big swim focus.
Yes.
The swim focus then stayed, but basically I upped the amount I was able to swim and the intensity I was able to swim, and it's 7 or 8 swims a week, and 6 of those are good swims, quality swims.
Yeah.
So I'm swimming a lot of quality and a lot of frequency in every day, and 1 double a week basically. And at the same time, we were building the run volume to get my run up to the next level. So I was starting to hit 60, 70 miles every single week. We're talking Christmas. I canceled Christmas. It was a thing. Well, it wasn't meant to be a thing. I just told my family I wasn't going, and people caught word of it. But I ran 70 miles the week of Christmas, and then the bike was actually kind of low down on a totem pole. It was very low, and I was actually worried like, oh, my biking's gone. And I went into Miami thinking like I'm going to swim well and I'm going to win this race on the run. And then we only ramped my bike up like a month, not even 3 weeks before Miami, and sure enough, my bike is stronger than ever. So it goes to show there's definitely some type of cross-training effect.
Totally.
The better I get at swimming and the better I get at running, the better I keep getting on the bike. And so it's been pretty cool to see my best watts and my fastest times on the bike. And of course I have new partners, Trek and DT Swiss. They're really helping me optimize the bike and their equipment that like I'm pushing 10 or 15 watts more than last year, but I'm seeing like a 30-watt difference because of the equipment.
Wow! And the cool part is, from a kid who was living in his parents' basement, seeing all these logos on there is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's for me, putting the logos, and seeing the equipment I'm on. It's so much more than just like a partnership. It's a sign to me of like I have done this and I belong, and like
they believe.
It makes me proud. Yeah, and my sponsors believe in me, and it makes me so proud to have these dream sponsors of mine that are finally on board, and it's like recognition of myself to myself.
My favorite part of last year's race, you raced here, and your dad was out here, 60 to 64, right?
Exactly.
Wearing your kit. And what were people yelling at him?
They were saying like, wow, Sam, you're having a really bad day. You're way far back here, really struggling. And because, he was walking the run some. I mean, the guy had only run 8 miles in training as his longest run, but he still got third in his age group.
Yes,
so
he did.
I mean, he actually told me today he needs to get on the show. He's like, how come everyone's giving Sam the attention? I need to get on the show, and when are we going to start making YouTubes about me, Sam?
Exactly. He's getting his own channel. He's like, Sam who? I don't care about him. Come on, he's just one of my kids. What would it mean to you be coming down this street first on Saturday?
To be honest, I've thought a lot about what it means to me, but I think it would mean even more to America, and that's a big thing for me going into this. So it's the 2021 World Championships, but it's the 2022.
Right.
It's been 20 years since Tim DeBoom won. I think it's been a long enough drought for America. So that's absolutely something I've thought about. The other big thing, so actually my brother was hit and nearly killed by a car when he was 6.
Really?
Yeah. So. That brought up a lot of trauma for me.
Your triplet.
Yeah, one of my triplet brothers was almost killed by a car.
And then you get
in
hit.
the neighborhood, and then I just got hit. So that brought up a lot of trauma for me this last week that I've had to process and deal with. So I'm also, very much racing for him out there. Obviously, he's alive and super healthy now, but it's just the fact that we've both had that happen. It's a way for me to get redemption because the person who hit me, she's anonymous, she's gone, she's off scot-free. And the person who hit my brother, their lives go on as if nothing happened. And obviously these dramatically affected us. So this race is for America and for my brother and for, hopefully people are not going to get hit by so many cars out there.
Well, and makes you realize how lucky you are to get to a start line. I mean, especially with so many other people not being able to get to the start line, you get hit by a car and you're going to be on the start line. Exactly.
Oh God, man. I mean, it's in the air now. If you're a top contender, you better believe something's going to try and stop you from getting on the start line. I don't understand it. It's like, it's something crazy because it's literally every single top athlete has had some serious, not just like a minor issue, some serious things to deal with.
I love it. Sam, thank you so much for always being so generous with your time. Thank you for the support of Challenge Athletes Foundation. You've been amazing.
Of course.
Poncho Man.
Bring it on in, Poncho Man.
It's Aloha Wednesday. We're gonna run until Saturday. Whoa. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. And it's breakfast with Bob.
And Poncho Man, day 3, breakfast with Bob. Hang on, we'll be right back.